We all now face a new enemy, against whom there is no real defense: the suicide bomber. Like a virus, suicide bombing has spread out from the Middle East, across the world to New York and London. And as the cult has traveled, it has found new, ever more deadly followers, women and Westerners, all seeking martyrdom and paradise. I'm Robert Baer. I used to be a CIA agent. For the last 20 years, I've been trying to figure out the psychology of why anyone could turn themselves into a human bomb. I'm back in the Middle East to find out why this new generation of Westerners and Palestinian women is so ready to join the cult of the suicide bomber. Around lunchtime on the 4th of October, 2003, a young woman stood up from the table in Maxim's restaurant in Haifa. Without warning, she blew herself up. The attack killed 21 people, including women and children. Nir Meresh, Haifa's chief of police, was the first officer on the scene.
I came in, I saw the most horrible sight you can imagine. There was tens of people lying on the floor, lots of children, babies. She was sitting here with her victims. She stood up and she stepped where the most crowded place in the restaurant. The most crowded place
right here was most crowded.
Here because there were two big families eating together.
How can you sit calmly with children, have a lunch, and then blow yourself up?
I don't know.
The bomber was Hanady Jaradat, a 29-year-old Palestinian lawyer.
God will reward us with a special place in heaven. God is all-seeing, all-knowing. In His greatness, I decided to be the 6th female martyr who would turn her body into shrapnel to pierce the hearts of each Zionist enemy.
Hanady was from Jenin, just 30 miles from Haifa, and Maxim's restaurant. Now, Jenin is sealed off by checkpoints, barriers, and the anti-suicide bomber wall. In April 2002, there was a major assault by the Israeli army on the main Palestinian refugee camp in the city. The battle lasted for days, and scores of fighters and civilians were killed in what Palestinians still call the Jenin massacre. In revenge, more suicide bombers tried to smuggle themselves past the wall to blow themselves up in Israel. In Jenin, the city's streets are an unofficial shrine to these Palestinian martyrs. Before the Israelis built the wall, they nicknamed Jenin Suicide City. You look around here, you can see why. These walls are just covered with posters of suicide bombers, martyrs. People died fighting the Israelis. And when you see the Israelis' wall, you can see it's about the only way they could stop them. It's by just simply closing down the place, surrounding it, turning it into a virtual prison. The bombers are overwhelmingly male. In Arab society, women's lives are tightly circumscribed by honor codes. Some women cannot leave the family house without the permission of their male relatives. Many Palestinian women marry young, at 18, and soon start a family. Hanady, at 29, was a rare exception. She studied abroad and was a lawyer. Yet she abandoned everything to become a suicide bomber. Her family live in the center of Jenin. وهذا فادي؟ Her father, terminally ill, was keen to show me his daughter's official martyrdom certificates. Next to them are those of her brother Fadi and fiancé Salah, killed by the Israelis. ليش هنادي استشهدت؟
أولاً
Hanady believes in God. They killed her fiancé for no reason.
قبل فترة بأول ما جت السلطة.
On June 12, 2003, an Israeli undercover hit squad killed Fadi and Salah as they drank coffee outside the family home. The family insists Fadi was just an ordinary Palestinian, but admits Salah was head of Islamic Jihad in Jenin, an organization responsible for suicide bombing attacks.
People assume that we do this for money, that money is being poured in. But what is the martyr going to do with the money? What's the use of money after his death? None.
Hanady's attack on Maxim's was just 4 months after Fadi's murder. The bombing of the restaurant seems like straightforward revenge. But there is no traditional role in Islam for women to become fighters. What made Hanady so different? Hanady was recruited by her cousin, Sami Jaradat. Sami now is serving 21 life sentences in Gilboa, a maximum security prison.
كيف كانت؟ يعني
She came to me and asked to go on an operation after her brother and fiancé were killed. I actually tried to dissuade her, being close to her and her family and knowing their situation. She was the eldest, looking after her brother and sisters, but she was absolutely determined to become a martyr at any cost, even if only armed with a knife.
مين أعطاها المتفجرات؟
I gave her the explosives. I took them to her and taught her how to use them and how to use the belt.
لما هي شافت المتفجرات خايفة؟
On the contrary. Yes, on the contrary. She was so excited and so looking forward to having them.
هي كانت مبسوطة أو مرتاحة؟
Yes, she was, and you can see that in the video I filmed of her.
تصوير.
She was smiling while reading her will on the tape. She was happy in the sense that she achieved her goal.
Sami was a foot soldier, 300 kilometers away in the Negev desert. Also serving 21 life sentences is Amjad Zubaydi, the mastermind of Maxim's attack and the man who personally made Hanady's bomb belt. بسبب فادي استشهد، صالد استشهد. هي كانت بنت حزينة، كان في شيء من الاستغلال، يعني النفوذ عليها نفسيا.
إطلاقا.
No, never.
يعني كان هذا السبب.
In fact, this was the main reason why I kept postponing her operation. I kept telling her to go and think carefully about it. This was our main fear, that the death of Saleh and Fadi might be influencing her decision.
فادي على نفسيتها.
مين عملت الحزام؟
أنا.
I did it.
كيف؟
مواد بسيطة.
With very, very simple materials that you can find anywhere. The belt is a simple thing.
الحزام يعني.
Not complicated.
قلت لك بسيطة جدا، مش معقدة.
It can be worn exactly like this one. The explosives are usually put around this area, so they can't be seen.
يعني ما يبينش.
وين كان الزير؟ يعني في جيبها؟
نعم على الجنب.
Yes, on both sides, here and here. So that's easy to handle.
يعني
كان في اثنين.
واحد أمان.
Yes, a safety switch and a detonator.
نعم.
I asked him, I said, is it true that her first target was a hospital? And he said, absolutely not. She was allowed to pick her target. The whole idea was to kill as many people as possible. But she had instructions not to go into a nursery or into a hospital. She did have hospital papers on her to let her into a hospital, but that was not the primary target. He did not know about Maxim's. That was her, again, it's the intelligent bomb. Pick some place you can get into, kill as many people as you can. Hanady had lost a brother, a fiancé. She wanted revenge. But why kill those families in Maxim's? Why kill yourself? Did she really believe she was going to go to paradise? But there is somewhere in Israel where there might be some answers. Hasharon is the only jail in the world for failed female suicide bombers. And inside these walls are the only people who can explain how a woman could turn herself into a human bomb. Wafa al-Bis wanted to become a suicide bomber, just like Hanady, but failed. To prevent suicide bomb attacks from Gaza, Israel has sealed the strip with a huge 30-foot high wall. The only way in and the only way out is through the Israeli-controlled Erez crossing, the most heavily fortified frontier zone in the world. On the 20th of June, 2005, Wafa al-Bis tried to cross into Israel through the Erez crossing. She said she wanted to attend a hospital to receive treatment for burns, but really, she was on her way to paradise. The suicide bomb belt was concealed in her trousers. But as she waddled her way towards the metal barrier, the border guards became suspicious of her bulky clothing. She was trapped and, through the loudspeaker, ordered by the guards to strip. Again and again, Wafa desperately tried to detonate her suicide bomb, using a switch hidden inside her pocket. But the device failed to go off. Wafa was only 20 at the time. Her plan, if she had made it through the Erez crossing, was to return to the Israeli hospital, where she had received medical treatment for severe burns to her neck and hands, and blow herself up.
I confess that I did it, but I'm the victim. When I got to the gate, I wanted to live like you. I wished to be like you, free. Yesterday I was free. When I just think of how I was yesterday and how I was today, I was like a bird flying in the sky.
Wafa was sentenced to 12 years in prison for her failed suicide bomb attempt.
وكيف وجدوكي؟
تنظيم فتح.
تنظيم فتح.
They heard about me a long time ago, that I wanted to be a martyr. I used to tell my girlfriends at school that I wanted to do a martyrdom operation. It always makes me sad when I think of my failure to martyr myself.
يعني شو صار يوم الاتقاء بإيرتس؟
I had decided to do a martyrdom operation at the hospital. Obviously, I had a permit to enter the hospital. I had been treated at the hospital before, and I knew the doctors there.
لو كان في أولاد بمستشفى فجرتي؟
If there were Israeli children at the hospital, yes, it wouldn't be a problem. They have killed many Palestinian children, so if there were Israeli kids, I have no problem with blowing myself up.
In the CIA, I saw terrible things, but planning to blow up the hospital that saved your life? How could anyone think like this? I don't think there is an easy answer, but since the Intifada began in 2000, over 4,000 Palestinians have been killed, compared to over 1,000 Israelis. The desire for revenge and the lure of martyrdom is potent. Every would-be martyr is given their moment to be a somebody and to have their words broadcast across the Arab world. There is usually a formula, a bit of the Quran, a vow for revenge on the hated Israeli enemy, and a plea for more martyrs to follow.
And to you, Father, I want you to forgive me because I know I have caused you a lot of trouble in the past. Please, Father, don't be angry with me. Give me your forgiveness. I need it to enter paradise.
قولي لي أنا يوم العملية.
كل شوي يعني كل.
The guys from the organization kept calling me every few minutes to tell me to hurry up and write my will, as they wanted to film me. They said it would be broadcast on Al Jazeera or Al Manar TV channel. So I wrote my will, asking my mother to look after my brothers and sisters after I'm gone.
Unlike Hanady, Wafa did not want revenge. She wanted a deadly fame, to be a star in her own suicide bombing. I wondered what awaited Wafa in the gardens of paradise.
مكتوب بالقرآن الكريم إنه في 72
Virgins? Yes, 72 virgins.
لكن بالجنة ممكن تتزوج.
Yes, they get married there. The male martyr gets to marry 72 virgins, and the female martyrs get the same.
It's the first time I've heard that. Other Islamic scholars say a woman martyr is like a queen of the virgins.
We're seeing a divergence here. She thinks that in heaven there's absolutely equal treatment. a woman gets to marry 72 men, and a man gets to marry 72 virgins.
Wafa came from Gaza, a tiny strip of land crammed with 1.3 million Palestinian refugees. Gaza is a place of desperate poverty and human misery. It's about as far from paradise as you could ever be. Gaza is where the cult of Palestinian suicide bombing began. But female bombers are extremely rare. Secretly recruiting someone's daughter is an insult to her family's honor. But a woman is less likely to be stopped and searched. And because she can get close to a target, her chances of success in killing are higher. In death, female bombers have special glory. They have a potent sexual aura, like Western film stars. Wafa's teenage ambition was to join these shahidat, female martyrs. And she shopped around for a militant group who would make her a star. The two men who recruited Wafa are on the run, but hurriedly agree to meet me. They are afraid the Israelis will pinpoint us and call in a missile strike. ليش قرروا شهيدة؟
Our sister Wafa had a great determination and perseverance to undertake a sacred operation for God. Many times before, she had expressed her wish to make such a sacrifice to various militant groups.
في فلسطينيين ضد الشهيدات.
No, nobody opposes this. With all the operations that have taken place, we have never heard of anyone objecting to women. There has been no disagreement on this topic. There is no difference between a man or a woman. All the groups agree on that.
كيف جندوا وافا؟
Because of our religious traditions, women train separately from men. Wafa was always trained by her female comrades.
شو صار ردود فعل عائلتها؟
Their reaction was normal, like that of any Palestinian. We went to them and they were not upset. They accepted what happened with great patriotism and high morale.
To her recruiters, Wafa was just another weapon, a walking bomb. But it's hard to believe that any parent wouldn't feel sad about their daughter killing themselves or being sent to prison for 12 years. It's true that as a teenager, Wafa started saying she wanted to be a suicide bomber. Her worried parents barred her from going to university to stop her meeting militants and turn the family home into a prison. Her father admitted he had physically beaten Wafa as a punishment. حكت لكم بشهادة؟
Yes, of course she used to ask me, and I used to refuse because she was a girl.
هي كانت سجينة بالبيت؟
Yes, I locked her in.
He locked her in and he beat her as well.
I didn't let her out for a month, and I did beat her.
Wafa was still confined to the family home, but when she was left alone in the kitchen, there was a terrible accident. Mysteriously, the gas canister leaked. Kuli an al-harik.
Her siblings said they were starting to feel cold, and we kept the blankets upstairs in winter time. So we all went up, and Wafa stayed down by herself. We sat for a while. Then after about 10 minutes, I heard a noise and heard Wafa crying out, "Mother!" I ran down the stairs and found her running around on fire.
The hose from the gas canister attached to the family cooker had become disconnected, and Wafa's nylon clothes were on fire and melting into her skin. She was later treated for her injuries for months in a specialist burns unit of an Israeli hospital, the same hospital she intended to blow up. Kif kanet jarahata.
3rd-degree burns.
When?
Here on her neck and whole chest area and both arms.
كان في استقلال؟
No, no one manipulated her. She wanted this for a long time, even before the fire.
انتو زعلان منها؟ انت مرتاح شو صار بيها؟
I am not happy about what happened to Wafa. I would have preferred if she had martyred herself, because that's what she wanted. If only she had died and reached heaven. I'm angry that she got caught, but I am proud of her. It was the love of her country and her dedication to her country that led her to do this.
Before her arrest at the Erez border, Wafa had written a farewell letter to her mother.
In the name of God, the gracious and the merciful, to my dear mother, it is very difficult for me to leave you, but mother, I have chosen to be a martyr for God. Forgive me for all the things, small or big.
In the CIA, you're taught to question and check out everything the suspect says. Wafa's accident with the gas canister happened when she was alone. Her dad admitted he had beaten her. To me, the accident was an attempted suicide, bizarrely because her father tried to stop Wafa from becoming a martyr. After her burns, Wafa was even more psychologically damaged, an easy mark for her recruiters. A petulant teenager acting out her fantasy of glorious martyrdom, but with real explosives.
Forgive me, Mother. Forgive me. I wish I hadn't done this to myself. I wish I had listened to you. Forgive me, Mother.
Wafa wanted to be somebody, someone famous, even if she had to kill herself. She was mesmerized, even as a child, by these myths of paradise. She failed to find her death and is now serving 12 years in Hasharon's living tomb. Hanady's bombing of Maxim's was far colder, far more deliberate. She knew exactly what she was doing when she stood between the Israeli families and destroyed them and herself. For some other prisoners in Hasharon, there is no release date. Kahara Sadi is serving 150 years. How could this young mother of 4 turn into a deadly killer and organize a suicide attack on the streets of Jerusalem. In Hasharon, the prisoners are supposed to have a family visit once a month. But because of security restrictions, the visits are frequently canceled. But today, Kahara's children are here. After 45 minutes, the visit is stopped. The next time Kahara will see her children, maybe, is now a month away. A guard hands over the family photographs, and Kahara returns to the block.
Go in and close the door.
What was the best part of the visit?
That I saw them and that I got to kiss them through the metal mesh. That was my wish, and it came true. And by chance I was even able to touch their hands, though not for long.
Section 12 of Hasharon houses nearly 50 high-security female prisoners. Many of them failed suicide bombers. Kahara is deputy leader and already one of the longest-serving inmates. She has been here for over 4 years, since her arrest in Jerusalem. On the 21st of March 2002, a 17-year-old suicide bomber blew himself up in King George Street, a crowded shopping area in the center of Jerusalem. Three people were killed and 80 wounded. Amongst the dead was a woman, 5 months pregnant. Kahara was the bomber's accomplice. She used her Western appearance to help smuggle him into the heart of the city. It was Mother's Day, and Kahara gave the bomber a bunch of flowers to pretend he was on his way to see his mother.
خلال الانفجار شفتي الانفجار
The explosion was very strong. You couldn't see anything. There was so much smoke, thick like fog. Even though the streets were full of people, you could not see anyone. Everywhere you looked, there was smoke. Yes, smoke. And the sound was so loud, it's still buzzing in my head. The explosion was very, very strong. Killed, yes. I don't know if there were children. There were 3 killed and 80 injured. Yes, I am married and I have 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls. Many people ask me this question. How can I be a mother of 4 and have the heart to do this? When my kids were living with me, they lived in fear, as they do now. No safety, no normal life, no stability. It's a life of constant fear. Children would get killed in front of mine all the time. My children could not play outside, so they have to always stay at home.
In April 2002, the Israeli army besieged Jenin and attacked the refugee camp where Kahara's family lived. There were fierce gun battles in the streets, and a number of her husband's relatives were killed.
Every time there was some shooting, they would run to me terrified. The massacre in the camp was the main motive for me to do this thing. I had to do something. There had to be revenge. I asked to work with them. They did many checks on me. Yes, yes.
Kahara's youngest child was just 2 when she was sent to prison. She has now been separated from her children for 4 years.
Who? Yes. I asked him to marry again because I am serving 3 life sentences and 30 years. My sentence is very long. My kids are young and they need someone to look after them, and my husband cannot do that alone.
In her old family pictures, Kahara doesn't wear a veil. She is clearly far more westernized than most Palestinian women.
Frankly, before the operation, I wasn't really committed to wearing religious dress. After the operation in prison, I started to pray to God and I became closer to God. So I saw this was the right thing to do. No, my father and mother died when I was little. I was living in an institution. The woman who brought me up, that I call mother, is from France. Her name is Marlene.
I was surprised when Kahara told me she had been brought up in an orphanage. Palestinian children who lose their parents would normally be adopted by aunts or uncles. The orphanage probably explains why Kahara wasn't religious and never wore a veil. But I kept wondering if there was something else, something hidden about her past. My first stop is her old house in Jenin refugee camp, where Kahara's husband, Nasser, lives with his second wife and Kahara's 4 kids.
Thank God we were happiest people on earth. I did all I could to please her. I even cut off all my contact with my family for her, so she could be happy. I even left the camp and went to live in Ramallah, so the family couldn't interfere and she could have her freedom. There were problems between me and my family because of the way she dressed.
مشاكل?
Yeah, problems about her wearing tight jeans and things. You know how people in the camp are conservative. They wanted me to tell her to cover up and wear the veil, but I refused. And so we left the camp.
في حياتها أولادها كيف صارت بالمقاومة؟
Firstly, she did not expect to be imprisoned. Secondly, she did not have any affection for the children. After she was away from them for so long, she began to miss them and realize their worth. She had made a mistake. She should have stayed and helped her children. It's because she was robbed of a mother. She doesn't know what it means to be a mother.
شو رأيك عن أمك؟
She did it in defense of our country. Someone who she loved was killed. Also, my cousins were killed, whom she loved very much. They used to support us a lot.
She knows I'm angry with her for abandoning me and the kids.
تزوجت مرة ثانية.
Yes, I got married again. She's very nice and she's taking care of the kids.
None of it fits. Nasser is angry at Kahara and blames her for being in prison. I don't understand how Kahara, who had 4 kids and admits she was not religious, could have decided to take part in a suicide bomb operation. Was there some other motive? There's one other person who knows a lot about Kahara, her second mother, the French woman Marlene, who brought her up in the orphanage.
You knew her from what age?
From 6 years old.
Why did she come?
The mother has to make suicide.
How? She killed herself?
Yeah.
How?
She put petrol. She burned herself. Father was a drinker. Was at time a very nice man. Was at time awful. Father was acting badly towards her or towards her sister.
Kahara married at 16 and by 18 had 2 children. Kahara's husband, Nasser, failed to find work.
How did they manage financially?
So that's the problem. That it began the problem, that she began to work.
What did she do?
I cannot say it, that she was a prostitute.
But isn't this a huge dishonor, prostitution?
It's a big crime in the Palestinian society.
How does a woman regain her honor after being prostituted?
I think that it was to be a martyr, to be a freedom fighter or whatever, so that she. But I think some organization had used her.
So the 2 reasons that you think that Kahara was recruited were?
Rehabilitation for herself, and that she was that she get help, finance help from a group.
Is she a hero?
For me, No. Sorry.
What is she to you?
A poor victim of many things, of her father, the hard side of the society, and too young married, not what is a hero? I don't know. Don't know what is a hero.
هنادي أنور الشهادة هذا الطالع من عينيك.
In posters and films, Hanady is portrayed as a hero, the so-called Bride of Haifa. But the real lives of prisoners like Kahara are sad, not glorious. Kahara was a desperate mercenary, a woman forced out of shame and poverty to risk her own life, carrying out Islamic Jihad's orders, a victim who made other victims. Kahara was an accomplice, a tool. But in other cells in Hasharon are women who coldly recruited their best friends for death. At university, Manal Sabana joined Islamic Jihad and began recruiting her fellow female students as suicide bombers. Manal used her own body to deliver the suicide vest to her closest university friend, Sabrine Amara.
So tell me about the vest.
Here, like this.
You put it like this?
Yes, like this. It has a stick here.
And no strap here?
No.
No strap.
This, which you are talking about, is for men more than the women.
You mean there's actually a women's vest and then there's a men's vest?
Yes. It's look like tall cans.
Tall cans?
Yes. Filled with explosive materials and nails and mental pieces. They are collected together with a piece of cloth, which is...
Canvas.
Yes.
Yes.
It was not easy to wear it.
Was it hot? Did it smell?
Yes, it had a very smell which caused for me a headache. It was very heavy smell for the eyes and for the head.
Oh.
It was very bad for me.
You showed this vest to Sabrine?
Yes, I showed it to Sabrine after some days. I told her that it's with me now and you will go with it. She liked to see it. I take it out from my wardrobe and show it to her. She was happy and nervous or worried. I didn't know how. And she cried at the first moment when she
cried?
saw it. Yes.
Manal had successfully recruited her first would-be martyr.
لما شفتي هزام كنت مبسوطة أو مرتاحة؟
كثير كنت مبسوطة وكنت أستنى.
Of course I was happy. I was awaiting the moment to wear it and carry out the operation. I was counting the seconds.
كيف بدي أنزل.
فكرتي عن شو؟ عن الجنة، عن السياسة؟
لا فكرت بكل المواضيع.
I was thinking of everything. My main goal was to kill the greatest number of people.
أكبر عدد.
Yes, the greatest number.
أطفال كمان؟
لا ما كانش.
No. My goal was not to target children.
هدف اليهود.
هدف يهود عسكريين.
عسكريين.
The target was Jewish soldiers, not civilians. I was very happy and awaiting the day and the moment to wear the belt.
اليوم اللي بدي ألبسه فيه.
ما شفتي هزام فكرت أنا يعني جسمك بعد الانفجار أو يعني شيء
Do you mean that something would have happened to it, as in being destroyed? No, we don't think about that because once a person dies, that's it. The soul leaves the body. It is the most important part of a person. If my body exploded or anything happened to it, I wouldn't feel a thing because my soul has left for paradise.
وكيف الدنيا بالجنة؟
Life in paradise is quite nice, very different from this life. There are rivers of purified honey, milk, and non-intoxicating alcohol. It has everything from mountains to flowing water, everything that a person would want.
فيها كل شيء جبال سهول يعني كل أشياء بده يتمنى الإنسان فيها.
في شيء استقلال بينك وبين منال.
No, Manal didn't want me to carry out the operation. She wanted to do it first, but I refused and insisted on doing it.
Sabrine is also serving 4 years for wanting to be a female martyr, a shahida.
How many days away for suicide operation?
Exactly, we didn't know. We know that in these days, in this month, maybe after a week, maybe after 15 days, but exactly the day, no. Because if one of us arrested and another one took this pill to do the explosion with it, we will not say in the...
You won't know.
Yes.
But it was Manal who had told Sabrine what to say in the suicide bomb video.
Who wrote the will?
I wrote it.
You wrote it.
But from her ideas.
She couldn't write?
She can write, but my Arabic language
is better.
The grammar of Arabic, for me, better.
Your Arabic's better.
Yes.
Sabrine was not the only volunteer for death. Manal was also approached by her former high school friend Ayat Kamel, who also wanted to be a suicide bomber.
She asked me, Manal, look, I want to do something. Maybe you will help me. I asked about this. She wanted to go to be a martyr by an explosion in Israel. She prayed for God and asked God to show her if this will be good to her or not. Then she dreamed of a human that made an explosion and killed 40.
She had a dream.
Yes, she had a dream.
You're accused of exploiting istiglal, the young people,
girls,
young girls, for this operation. What do you say?
I say this is not true. I didn't do this thing myself. Most of them came to me. Some of them cried to me to agree for this. I think more than the quarter of girls in Palestine want to do like these things.
You would send your sister for a suicide
operation? I
operation?
can send her. It's very hard. It's not easy. I don't say to you it's easy. But we have to do like these things.
Ayat's dream of becoming the most deadly female suicide bomber ended with her arrest. She was also sentenced to 4 years and lives above Manal in a cell on the same unit.
هذا غريب علينا. يعني هالسبيل سبيل الاستشهاد غريب علينا.
استشهاد. You call it suicide.
انتحار.
There's a huge difference. A person that wants to commit suicide does it out of desperation, whereas when the Muslim goes to martyr himself, the heart is filled with happiness.
Really, إذا في بنت استشهدت شو صار بعدين بالنسبة للجنة
When a woman martyrs herself, she gets reward from God. She becomes the mistress of the virgins. she will exceed them in beauty, rank, and status.
كيف علاقات بينك وبين منال؟
Manal is a friend and a sister. I love her unconditionally. We have a very intimate relationship. We never fell out over what happened because each of us chose our own path towards God.
The sisterly love does not extend to Ayat's mother. During a prison visit, she told Manal she would kill her. It's not hard to understand that mother's anger. If Manal's plan had succeeded, Ayat's body would have been blasted into bits by Manal's specially tailored suicide vest. But Ayat, with her naive religious fervor, was a willing victim. Manal's village lies just outside Jenin. I wanted to meet her parents to see what they thought about their daughter's role in sending other families' daughters to their death.
كنت ضد العملية ضد يعني فكرة الشهادة.
For women, yes, I am against it.
It's a pity for a woman's body to be scattered everywhere for people to see. We would be proud for a man to do it, but not a woman. It's a sin. When her body is blown to pieces, it would mean that the Jews would have to pick them up. One of our girls' flesh and blood would be in the hands of the Jews. We don't even know if Hanady Jaradat's family was able to retrieve her body.
Weird thing is, they're not worried about her death or disappearance or political scandal or things like that. They're actually worried about pieces of her body being exposed in front of strangers or anybody. I mean, we wouldn't think about that. Well, this is an embarrassment to the family to see somebody's finger on the ground or something like that. They're worried about. It's a question of honor.
There have been hundreds of suicide bombings by Palestinian men. But far, far fewer by women. And the key to understanding why is this notion of Arab honor, which defines a woman's smallest steps in life and in death. Some women like Kahara or Wafa can use suicide attacks to wash away dishonor or to escape the claustrophobia of their lives. But Hanady is different. Her motivation is also driven by the honor of taking revenge, however cruelly, on the enemy. She avenged her dead brother by sacrificing her own life.